What's up, Massu, and congratulations on winning your MasterCard Player of the Week for Week 5.
Thank you.
I like the pose. Did they tell you to do this?
Yeah, they did. They asked me to do like a half run, so
okay,
that was my best half run, you know?
I was like, oh, I'm seeing you're marching to victory or something. But you've seen this game. You know how it's done before, right?
Yeah.
All right, 90 seconds, quick answers. If you can't answer it, we move on to the next question. You ready?
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Favorite Iraqi or Arab dish that you've eaten?
Dolma.
Okay. 1 green and 1 red flag for Busio.
He's really good at communicating, but he can...
Too much of a yapper?
He can... Yeah, he can be a yapper, sure.
Okay, there we go. How about for yourself?
Oh, I could be stubborn sometimes. And green flag. Even though I could be stubborn, I still like listen to others' opinions.
Okay, I like that.
But I just don't accept them sometimes.
Biggest solo queue pet peeve?
Bad supports?
Who is the biggest solo queue demon?
I can't just drop names like that.
You could if you want, but you can move on to the next one.
Some Zillion players.
You face C9 next week. Who's their weakest link?
I don't think they have like a weak link. But yeah, I don't think they have a weak link.
Okay. Irrational fear?
Spiders?
If you don't win Rookie of the Year, who would?
Sniper.
Underrated or overrated LCS player? You can just name one or the other.
Underrated BVOY. Overrated.
You got 3 seconds too, so this could be the last question you answer.
Done?
Okay, there we go. Already hearing that one. And just to follow up on one of them, you said irrational fear of spiders. Do you have an irrational fear of elevators? Because a little birdie told me about an incident that you had in K-Town with you and Busio. Tell the story a little bit.
Okay, so we were just eating dinner with a few friends, and then we went to the elevator. The door opened. There was like 10 people already inside. Yeah. And we're like, you know, it's a pretty big elevator. I think we can go in. So we went in. It was a big mistake. We went down like half a floor, and then I just got stuck. And then, we just called the firefighters. Yeah. And then within like an hour or so.
I heard that you were the calm voice in the room.
I didn't really say much. I was just standing there, just listening to everyone. But yeah, it was an experience for sure.
All right. Anyways, congratulations one more time. Pick that bad boy up.
Thank you.
Maybe you get another one. Welcome back, guys. After the kind of the result of Team Liquid versus Cloud9, we've already discussed the implication of that one as Team Liquid's able to nail in top 2. The implications of the next series is going to be really important, though. Quickly, just the main point is, if Shopify loses 2-0, guess what?
Oh no!
They're out of playoffs. They're going to be joining IMT on that one. So now I'm going to be joining the couch here, unless there's anything you want to talk about.
Well, press 2-1. Does that keep them alive?
It does.
Just barely.
Oh. Barely. They have a chance, 25%. And honestly, no matter what here, between these two, it's a 50-50. So just depends. They need to win this series to keep their mind at ease.
Whew. I mean, they basically are in control of their own destiny, though.
Yes.
If they win both series,
just don't get 2-0.
They're in. Yeah.
Do not get 2-0'd, or next week is going to be a little bit boring for all of us.
Yeah. On the conversation, though, of their opponent, Massu, with Player of the Week, we wanted to go over some of his stats from his Player of the Week performance in Week 5 as well. And his Rookie of the Year campaign continuance, because he has really stepped it up in this summer split.
Yeah, and obviously everyone's like, oh, it's Kalista. You know, they know how to play around her. The biggest detractor, I think, that I've seen from Massu potentially being Rookie of the Year has been that, like, oh, he has a good team around him. My counterpoint to that, though, is that he is on a pushing carry that, yes, they are playing around, but he is also delivering super well. His laning phase has improved so much since last split. And then his team fighting, which is already really good and kind of the hallmark of his play coming out of NACL, has also improved.
Yeah, even just listening to the Player of the Week interview talking about, yes, he may be stubborn, but he's willing to listen. There's something that every player within the team has talked about, is the fact that he's been a bit of a sponge. And so, like, yes, last split, a little bit harder, but was still a good player. Then you go to MSI, he was, in my mind, a spotlight player and how well he consistently was there, and he's carried that over into this split.
And I'd also be remiss if we didn't mention the growth of Quad. He scaled throughout the summer split.
True.
His first game against Team Liquid was a very poor showing. He was also under extra scrutiny because of the fact that he did replace Jensen from the spring split, but he's moved way up now. Second in solo kills for mid lane. KDA and damage numbers are very solid. He's got a pretty wide champion pool. So really happy with his progression. With that being said, Shopify versus FlyQuest. Shopify looked a lot better with Boogie.
They did.
Yep.
And I'm told that I need to give this prediction quickly because I need to go cast.
Okay.
True.
So I'm not gonna
All right.
I'm not gonna give false hope Shopify. I'm gonna say FlyQuest 2-0.
What the
I'm gonna be out of here.
Oh my
hey, you're
God.
gonna agree with me.
We're all in agreement.
Tell me how Shopify wins, though. I want to hear the other side.
None
Even
of us
Discord.
are Shopify believers.
That's actually kinda sad.
Jatt tasked us with telling us how Shopify wins, though. I do think FlyQuest win. I think they've been playing really well. I think they are one of our top teams still, and there is a drop-off after, you know, the TL, C9, and FlyQuest of it all. If Shopify win, I feel like it's Insanity playing something really interesting 80 mid, and Boogie invading a ton.
Yes, and even just looking at the chat, it's not getting any, kinder to Shopify
Oh,
Rebellion. You've
no.
seen Bonnie in the chat going for a 2-0 FlyQuest. A lot of people just believe that FlyQuest will dominate, but it's confusing to me just because I don't know what to expect from Shopify Rebellion after last week. It felt like we saw a strong Insanity. Like, generally, this team feels like a lot more on the same page, so it could be a shocker in this series.
Yeah, and I think that is where I'm looking for is Boogie and Insanity, and in particular, Boogie's early pathing. How can he potentially get his lanes ahead? We will see if they can do it. I think it's a very tall task. We'll see what Raafaa and Jatt have to say as they get into game.
Muchas gracias, Emily. It's Raafaa and Jatt on the casting desk for FlyQuest between them and Shopify Rebellion. FlyQuest still one of our other top teams among Team Liquid and Cloud9 who just played moments ago. And for Shopify, it's a revitalization for them because last weekend they just picked up their first series win, so they're coming in on an all-time high, but the task ahead is monumentous.
It absolutely is, and even though all the conversation was about Boogie, I want to go back to Insanity, because this was a conversation throughout spring as well of him playing weird stuff. So we had to look into this, and we did define weird. It's a pick with less than 6% pick rate in that role. That's why Zeri technically counts, but you could argue me out of that. Either way, the majority of their wins are on weird picks, 3 and 13 with not weird picks. So I think this needs to be a guiding principle for Shopify throughout this entire series. We have a year's worth of data. Weird, good, standard, bad in terms of Insanity champions.
And it's totally valid. I mean, it's a story we've seen with a bunch of lower teams against the top of the standings over years of the LCS. If you cannot play the same game as well as them, then you need to play a whole new ball game. And bringing out those non-traditional mid laners for Insanity sometimes gives you that extra surprise. How he got that solo kill on Jensen last week on the Jhin was a big highlight for them.
So as that reminder, they played Jhin mid, Pantheon top in their second game. And the Pantheon top for FakeGod was his pick into Renekton. So the window for that to be available is here once again. I wouldn't necessarily count Zeri as weird, but it is something that Insanity is good at now, so I think we could still see a fairly early Zeri pick by Shopify here. And another key is the Boogie brand, which was the 2-0 last week, has been banned away. I love the Ivern, though, as it can lead to some very creative things happening in game.
And I think that was one of the strengths for Shopify. Boogie coming back in, even in week 4, a disastrous loss against Energy after being so close 2 games in a row. The fact that Boogie brings a lot more life to the early games of Shopify, being willing to sack his own resources to make proactive timers in those lanes, they're unexpected because you wouldn't expect someone like Boogie, especially in this landscape of the jungle meta, to be sacking your own camps, but he knows what he needs to do in order to get his team ahead, and a lot of it is around that bottom side of the map because he knows BVOY is still such a strong carry presence on this team.
He absolutely is. He was the most underrated player in the LCS, according to Massu earlier today when they were talking about player of the week. So that is something that FlyQuest is going to be ready for. In terms of the super crazy draft we hyped up, we have absolutely nothing cool. Our Ivern is the coolest, but currently Gnar versus Renekton is a tale as old as time. The Lillia for Inspired is not too surprising as well, considering both their solo lane picks were already locked in and were already AD, and it will allow him to power farm his way into the mid and late game.
If Shopify really want to combat what Fly has shown as their core, obviously you're going to need some strong form of initiation, which is why the Nautilus is getting locked in for Zeyzal. But between Insanity and BVOY, I'm looking at long-range carries, because if you can outrange and outspace the Lillia, it's very hard for Inspired to get deep into the backline with at least a little bit of assist from the other team members.
Jhin mid, unironically, is not that bad here, depending on how the Jhin versus Corki matchup actually goes in mid lane, as long as they have a really strong damage over time carry for BVOY. So I do expect them to... I mean, there's no reason for them to need to pick it on 5 unless Insanity wants to see the entire comp, since he already knows the mid jungle that he is going up against.
Sure.
But I do appreciate that they're letting this go to 4-5, because I think that Nautilus that they locked in is, to your point, very effective against the Lillia.
Lillia can be very slippery in those late game team fights as she racks up all 4 stacks of that movement speed from her Q. FlyQuest taking away another AD carry option in that Zeri, as it's proven both to be useful in the hands of Insanity and BVOY. Shopify down to 1 more ban. They already took away the Renata to keep that disengage power away. I'm curious what the last ban will be, and it'll be a Misfortune.
A little bit interesting with the 4-5 pick bans coming out. Shopify doesn't want to give away Prio in too many roles. Also, Massu, Busio have been very dominant in their 2v2s. So the majority of Shopify's bans have actually gone towards the bottom lane. 4 of their 5 bans, with Aurora being the 5th, and now yet another marksman ban being thrown out. And that Jhin on 4 is really clever, because for them, it's a flex.
Yep. And you get to hide your cards here for Shopify. Whereas for FlyQuest, now Massu and Busio have to commit to a lane setup. Hovering the Ziggs could be good, giving you some extra safety with that long range, as Nautilus would have to walk up and initiate with that depth charge and get pretty close in order to find Massu. But it's a Lucian instead, and now I'm actually really curious, because technically this Lucian could still go mid. We have seen Corki bot in the past towards the beginning of the summer preseason, but not so much. But with the Lucian and Nami locked in, this is pure lane dominance. This is going to be a statement game from Massu and Busio.
And even though it's a lot of AD on the team, Lillia does enough magic damage and Inspired's confident enough of a carry that he's going to get pretty fed and be able to supply that magic damage. So the armor stacking wouldn't be able to be as effective as it was in this last game we saw, where everybody could just build plated steel caps and be absolutely A-okay. And now we're going to get to see what happens, because it might actually be Draven mid. I think this would be the likely choice into Corki, more so than the Jhin, because Jhin Nautilus is going to be good bot lane against the Lucian Nami. I think this is Draven mid.
Dude, Insanity is on his Chovy cosplay right now. He is rolling through every single AD carry left in the book. I mean, so many marksmen were banned from this draft phase, but now Insanity has a moment where he can surprise another mid laner once again with something they probably haven't practiced that much against before.
Yeah, and to our previous definition of what a weird pick is, it was across the major regions, a less than 6% pick rate in your role. And currently, it has been picked 3 total times in major regions in mid lane. So I think that's going to count in terms of Insanity playing something a little bit off meta.
I think a couple things that Shopify and FlyQuest are now going to be targeting is how volatile this mid lane matchup is. Obviously, Quad will still have a chance to scale on the Corki if he gets resources in the side lane assignments towards the mid and late game. But for Draven, this is a feast or famine pick. You do not get a second chance to farm back in the game if you're constantly getting targeted and losing those cash out stacks. So I imagine that Shopify's game plan, if BVOY feels confident enough to be in a lane 1v2 by himself, Zeyzal might be coming mid lane, Boogie is going to be coming mid lane. Everyone is all in on getting this Draven fed.
So in terms of this Draven, as you mentioned, Chovy has played it. Chovy's actually played it twice. He's the 2 mid Draven wins. So let's just quickly look at what we can expect from this Draven mid. Chovy went press the attack on Draven. He rushed a Bloodthirster in mid lane in, I believe, both games, just double checking. So it is going to be press the attack for Chovy, Bloodthirster first. Right now we have the Draven stacks covering up his Keystone, but I can confirm he's also gone press the attack on this, so he's going to be playing very aggressively, likely trying to get early lifesteal. It was picked into Corki the first time that Chovy did it as well, so it's on brand, even if it does feel a little bit weird. And we know Insanity is a good AD carry player, so I do like this choice, especially when paired with the Ivern.
Yep. A reminder to everyone at home, this is a must-win series for Shopify if they want to keep their playoff dreams alive. This is potentially one where FlyQuest, they clean them out, and next week, the entire playoff standings are already settled.
I just want to point out that dash by Insanity's name. In terms of only LCS Draven mids, that's not a typo. It was last seen in 2013 spring. That's the first ever LCS split.
Back in terms on Vulcan of Gaming.
Playing. Yes, the team's name was Vulcan, not the player Vulcan.
Yeah.
And ManCloud actually led the LCS in kills in that summer split. But that's ancient history at this point. We have Draven on live patch right now in the LCS. And he's pushing mid, as expected.
Yep. So now here's the question for both junglers. How does their path look after they pull off their full clear? Because more than likely, it'll be Scuttle Crab and then probably looking mid. Do we get a 2v2 look here?
I definitely think you don't. I think Inspired as a jungler is very much of the mind, and I think he's empowered on this team as well, to say, just don't die to Draven and let me kill my camps.
Yep.
If Inspired is going to take a 2v2, he's doing it with Renekton or with Lucian Nami. He's staying away, as far away as possible from that Draven, because that's how the game actually blows up. Quad, just don't take too much poke, don't lose plates, and keep your farm fairly close. That's the goal for Quad's Corki.
Meanwhile, in the bot lane, BVOY and Zeyzal trying to fight for that early push and doing a decent job of it as they get a decent trade on to Busio, forcing him to chug some pots. BVOY and Zeyzal are going to get this push in, but it looks like FlyQuest managing to hold that wave. So if Inspired completes his full clear and makes it towards the bottom side of the map and that wave is still frozen, Zeyzal and BVOY could be in trouble.
They could be. I do think that Inspired is likely just going to full clear all the way to top, take that top scuttle, which is guarded by his Renekton, and then I'm expecting Boogie with this extra smite to just take the bottom crab, unless there was enough poke onto Busio or Massu to prompt a dive, but it looks like Masu's relatively healthy. So pretty much just 7 camp clears for both junglers.
Yep. As you called it, Boogie just returning to that bottom crab. Inspired completes his full clear. He's already resetting and ready to redeploy. Nice engage from Zeyzal. Ignite out onto Busio. The flash forward, one more bullet! That's a solo kill for the 2v2 Shopify bot lane.
I mean, that's huge from Zeyzal BVOY. Needing flash and ignite, getting both the summoners out, and actually having Boogie there just in case something weird happened helps with the confidence, but that's pretty much all on BVOY and Zeyzal pull that off. Plus, now you have Insanity getting really good poke on to Quad in mid lane. Looking up right now for Shopify.
And now that BVOY and Zeyzal got their reset off, I wonder if Zeyzal will look mid, try to force a dive onto Quad. He still has flash, so he could walk up, take it, or at least try to burn a summoner spell and give Insanity a bigger advantage.
They can think about something, because at the very worst, running out mid costs you 5 seconds in terms of getting bot lane, so I like the fact that they're roaming here. Quad does have a biscuit, did clear that wave, is probably fine. I think what's more likely, though, is we're going to get some deep vision in the jungle. Now we'll watch this 2v2 kill once again. W is used, meaning the all-in is lower for FlyQuest, but the biggest thing is you just land the hook and the auto, and at that point, you actually just get the kill with the early laning power of the Jhin. It's got to feel good for... I was expecting more reaction from
Hey,
Revan is just a man of steel right now.
I mean, Revan's been through the trenches for the past, 5 weeks for Shopify, and they are just on the come up again, potentially. One first blood does not mean Shopify just take this game away, so Revan is just, understandably composed.
And the graphic we just showed earlier about keeping it close for Shopify Rebellion is not necessarily a good thing. what that referred to is 61% of game time has the total gold in the game being within 1.5% of each other.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mouthful, but it means the gold is just close the majority of the time. Factor that in with the fact that they're 2-10, and it means there's serious problems with their mid and late game. So in close games, they are actually very bad based on their standings. So that's why they're not thrilled with just one early kill, because this game is still close.
Nice hook from Zeyzal. Looks like Massu is now caught. Tries to dash away. Still has a barrier and a flash to work with, and he turns on the firepower right back into Zeyzal. It's a good trade back in health.
And Zeyzal's using those brushes really well. FlyQuest has prioritized warding the river, which means they can't trade as well in lane. So Zeyzal just kind of dashing in and out of those bushes, making it difficult to trade as Inspired gets one and probably bails away.
Yeah. He's forced to drop prio on the grub since Insanity has that full push in the mid side of the map. Squad just picking up the wave now. Bwipo and FakeGod also trading priority. But it looks like 2 grubs will go over to Shopify, but the lilting lullaby on Insanity, if he goes down, and oh, the flash into the wall! I don't think Insanity's gonna get out of this one unless Zeyzal can bail him out. He steps in front, the lilting, the swirling seed, and burns him down for the passive, but they're gonna turn on the firepower once again. Quad will be traded back over to FakeGod, and Bwipo might be next. Still has a flash to work with. He's stuck over the wall, gets an empowered Call of the Meek, but Zeyzal flashes back over, hooks him in, and Boogie picks up the kill.
Big play at the end of the day for Shopify because they walk out of this one with a 2-kill advantage. I did like the look from Inspired, trying to take the passive adoration stacks away from Draven. Getting a kill is going to cut those in half, so they were successful in that. But the thing that turned it as this fight continues is the fact that Zeyzal ran out mid again and eventually gave them the number advantage. So Inspired lands everything, lands the flash Q, lands the E, which eventually ticks him down. But then because Zeyzal is here, it allows them to slowly take down Bwipo as well, meaning both solo laners die for FlyQuest and the gold lead for Shopify extends.
With Insanity decelerated, he's going to have to work those adoration stacks back up. But as you already mentioned, the power is now swung into the top side of the map, where FakeGod now has a little bit of weight on his shoulders. He now has to carry this advantage where he knows that Bwipo doesn't have teleport, he doesn't have flash, and Boogie's already here just to assist in this hover, because FakeGod is trying to push this wave in. Bwipo will look to challenge, to slice back away, and Boogie's gonna summon Daisy, and Bwipo might be in trouble.
They want to kill him.
Yeah, Dominus is not back up yet. He goes Mega, and he slams him, and FakeGod picks up another one in this game.
Really nicely baited there by FakeGod, and Boogie being patient, because I think there's a world there where Ivern just goes early, shoves in the wave, and backs up, but they definitely waited the extra 5 seconds, hoping that Bwipo would go aggressive and try and punish. We saw a similar situation multiple times in the C9 TL series with Thanatos, where like you need to break the freeze, so sometimes you're just gonna do it even if your jungler's not there. But FakeGod did actually have his jungler there.
Yep.
So when Bwipo tried to punish, they did a really nice job of getting the kill and now having 2 kills on FakeGod.
And this is just another mark of why Boogie has been so vital for Shopify and being able to push their leads when he sees them. Because as soon as he recognizes there is a top lane advantage that can be accelerated further, he comes to top side immediately, willing to sack any of his resources that he could be getting for himself on the Ivern, and ensures that now FakeGod 2-0-1 up on the Renekton. Insanity has Boogie covering him as well, just doing a great job of caretaking all of his lanes as he swings through the camps. And it just goes to show that even on the brand last weekend, that he was willing to sack all these resources, and Boogie is playing a champion that leans into it even harder.
Absolutely. When Shopify talked about why they made this roster change when they were winless in the split, subbing in Boogie for Tomio, it wasn't like he was supposed to fix all of their problems, but it was the change that they could make which would give them a chance.
Yep.
And even if there's other things not going well with their late game, Boogie's so sacrificial in the early game that it helps out. And FakeGod does a nice job just hopping away from this delayed lane swap from FlyQuest. So all is well at the moment in the land of Shopify.
As you called it out, Shopify pick up the first dragon of the game. No contest from the side of FlyQuest. Busio and Massu are not going to be challenging FakeGod on the top side in the 2v1. We'll see what FlyQuest continues to do in terms of map play. as Inspired is hovering quad in the mid lane, just making sure that Insanity cannot look for lethal here. And they have a chance to go and get some deep vision now in the red quadrant since they have a majority of their team on that side of the map.
They do. Zeyzal also moving top lane here to help FakeGod get back to his turret. They do lose one plate because a lot of the fortification has dropped off, so Massu can do a lot of damage to those turrets early. Inspired also having a chance to get to 4 grubs here. That's an important break point. Boogie would love to come in and contest this last one, but he's unable to, so FlyQuest do get that 4th grub breakpoint. A lot of map pressure here. They do that while they're getting free hits on the bot side, so this is going to bring the gold pretty close.
Yeah. And for FlyQuest too, Inspired, big note here, has already finished his Liandry's Torment. It's a really strong item spike for Lillia. The next time they find an opportunity to skirmish, it's going to be even more lethal, and Shopify are going to have to keep their wits about them and how much of the fight they can actually take, because that Lillia passive combined with the Liandry's burn passive just really catches up fast.
Really does. Big power spike for him. Next big objective isn't for a while, though. 2 minutes, 30 seconds for Rift Herald, 3 minutes, 45 seconds for Drake. And this type of swap back, I think, is where FlyQuest is going to look to try and find some advantages, since they don't actually have great ways of forcing. When they go Lucian Nami, that's more of a combo that wants to try and take over mid lane. As you can see, they're 2v2 in the mid lane. Don't quite have the Nami power spike yet. Corki versus Draven in the top lane at this point in the game is just trading farm. So Inspired is, I think, just going to keep trying to farm away and maybe get some of these picks in the side lane. Bwipo is waiting for FakeGod right now.
And it's a great trap set up by Bwipo, already with the dominance. The Lilting Lullaby is going to put FakeGod to sleep, and he goes mini, so he doesn't have the extra resistances. Easy, clean setup by FlyQuest.
Get the bounty as well, and the damage and gold will keep coming in for Inspired, as he is 2-0 with 100 CS on that Lillia. That's exactly where we expected FlyQuest to maybe be able to make it back into this game, because Shopify, that's been one of their weaknesses all year, is being able to overall play the map and push advantages. They're going to try something here, though. They're trying to prep a dive on Busio and Quad.
Yeah, the Fly bot lane duo has both sums available. BVOY currently under fire from Massu, but the dive continues on the top side. Looks like Quad got knocked up.
He's hurt.
But Insanity catches out with the whirling death. Quad makes it out alive, as the rest of Shopify will be content in picking up Sushi from Busio.
The adoration has been cashed in by Insanity, clutching up with that ultimate, an extra plus 633 on the gold in that last fight. So it was delayed a little bit with his death, the amount of gold he'd be able to get, but they pull it off. And let's watch it one more time. Daisy flies in. You want that taking the early turret aggro. It does switch to Boogie pretty early, but it ends up being fine. And then the fadeaway with the ult right on the backside, also hitting Quad after it finished the Nami off. Is a well-executed 2v3 dive, especially considering the payoff did go correctly to Draven.
And they also burned Quad's flash, so now that is another timer that Shopify can look to play for. Zeyzal, point-and-click initiation will always be reliable in sending those picks up for Shopify. FlyQuest now going to have to keep that in mind as we get ready for the next set of objectives. Rift Herald spawning in 10 seconds, the third dragon of the game, or second dragon, I should say, spawning in 1 minute and 30.
And with Bloodthirster being completed by Insanity and still no Trinity Force for Quad, that is a power spike for Shopify if they can end up getting a fight where Draven is involved. So Insanity stacking up that Bloodthirster shield on the wave will work really well with moving down to that Rift Herald. The danger, of course, is if Massu Busio can take over this mid lane against BVOY, since Zeyzal's like... So basically when you have this 2v2 in the mid lane, if Zeyzal is there to threaten the Lucian with an engage, that's how you stop them from just bullying. But Zeyzal is trying so hard to get control of the river that BVOY ended up getting poked out, and now Quad is the one who can start this Rift Herald.
Yep. Booby being chunked out. It's harder for him to safely join the fight. Inspired and Quad are going to turn onto Insanity. He still has a flash available. He gets put to sleep. The redemption does not come in time. Inspired blows him up with the Eve.
Inspired really looking to take over this game. That's the second side lane kill he's just gotten pretty easily. He's flying in there. The river vision isn't strong enough for Shopify, and they're not respecting the moves of Inspired well enough. That Lillia is definitely going to be a problem.
And it's so pivotal for FlyQuest going into this matchup as well, because they know that Boogie has been so instrumental in elevating the rest of his team. Inspired is reminding everyone on the Rifts, like, hey, I'm one of the best junglers in the LCS, and I have been for quite some time, and he's making a payoff with all the resources going into him so far.
Absolutely. It's been such a weird split for FlyQuest, honestly, because they were the second place team in spring. They were favorites going into final, and they didn't have great showings at MSI because they didn't make it through the play-in. And then once they made the roster change, the hype just kind of died for them. But they're in a position now where they control the route to second.
Yep.
Based on the results of the Team Liquid Cloud9 game and the fact that FlyQuest plays Cloud9 next week, if FlyQuest wins these two or 2 of 3 and then wins 2 of 3 against C9, they're second and they get the bot.
Yep.
Once again, they're in the same position they would have been in spring split. So it's very important that they just take care of business here against Shopify so they can really continue the quest that they started in spring, even though they've been very under the radar so far in summer.
And I really like you mentioning that FlyQuest have been kind of just under-talked for the remainder of the split, with only the big hype. Hang on. Bwipo might be caught trying to engage onto Zeyzal. Pops the dominance already. Massu is forced out of the fight thanks to the death charge. Zeyzal goes back in with the dredge line. Here comes a tidal wave to break up the fight. Curtain call on the ready. Firing for that last bullet. FakeGod! Flash! Ult into the wall. Busio is gone! And Shopify pick up an only kill from the fight.
Some big plays by Shopify, but at what cost? Inspired already clearing the entire top side of Boogie's jungle, and then also Quad getting 2/3 of that top lane turret. It's going to be a battle for Shopify because even with those big plays, they're still kind of down in tempo.
Such a good trade from FlyQuest to still maintain that gold advantage despite the massive advantage that Shopify got in the fight around the mid lane. There's still no objectives to play for in the next couple of minutes. Baron spawning 240. 4 minutes on the third dragon of the game. Shopify have already stacked up the first 2, so they have a legitimate soul point win condition if they can keep this up.
Yeah, going to be very important to control the Drake area, and they're going to have to clean up what has been the one bad thing about their play this game, which is side lane awareness.
Yep.
And allowing Inspired to pick up a few of these early kills. He is the gold difference in this game, actually. 900 gold advantage for the Lillia and only a 1,000 gold advantage for FlyQuest as a whole. So they're not necessarily that far ahead unless Inspired can pull off a big play with his Zonia's, which is already completed.
Yeah, actually that's such a good adaptation for Inspired because a lot of the times you'll see Lilia's go for like Riftmaker second just to increase your Omni-Vamp and your damage over time. But Inspired recognizes that he's the only one with the bounty and he has to do everything he can to protect it against some of the higher physical damage members from the side of Shopify, since they really are only AD champions. So with the Zonia's, he gives him playmaking and protection against all that AD sources.
I love the fact that he rolled the Herald into the turret there for the extra little bit of damage. They don't quite get the turret, but they're going to be able to step up and get it any second.
It's so close! 49 HP.
They'll get it. They'll get it. The other thing with the Lillia play is, depending on the team comp even, like I think regardless of the fact of if he was 3-0 or 0-0, it's how he sees them winning this game.
Yeah.
You look at Shopify's team, and you say Draven, Jhin are kind of all the damage. But there's no cleanse, and the Mikhails is not built by Boogie. So if he can just get a sleep on these carries, someone else on his team is going to be able to finish. So he's kind of tailored his entire build towards this all-in flash Q R stopwatch style. Whereas I think if they were in a bit more of a full poke scenario, then he actually could have gone with one of the more pokier items.
Sure. Just being aware of his win conditions for this particular state. We're almost 20 minutes into the game here, Jatt. Baron just about to spawn in under 30 seconds. FlyQuest doing a decent job of still maintaining that side pressure.
In position.
They have no idea where Quad is. He shows. Inspired was looking for that swirling seed over the wall, but thankfully for Insanity, Zeyzal and Boogie are there to support.
Yeah, so they had the correct player shadowing. They had the backup there if he needs to go shove out that wave, go back to base, and hopefully complete his Infinity Edge. He has all the components in. He's I think he's just a little bit short of his total gold right now, but he wants Infinity Edge for this next Dragon fight. Because it's really about this Hex Tech Drake that's going to be spawning in a minute. Getting ready?
Yeah.
You're stretching for the fight?
So, I've talked with a few of the, not just players, but also, you know, staff with Shopify. And they know how rough the first 3 weeks have been for them. And with BVOY coming back, I mean, even in that loss against Energy, they have felt how much this team has elevated since then. And I know so many pros have talked, you know, great things about Shopify, saying like, hey, considering that they've only had one series win in this entire split, they're still a team that you shouldn't disrespect. And I think that's what FlyQuest are going to have to be super cognizant of going into this, what I believe is going to be a fight over this third dragon of the game. All eyes on, you know, FlyQuest being able to make those plays on the back line, as you mentioned with Inspired.
Well, the one problem here is they don't have the waves. So Bwipo's already pushed up bot lane, and Lucian Nami is in mid lane. So it means they have to approach from this spot. And I think being the team that starts this Drake when you can get poked by Corki Lillia is very dangerous. So Shopify, not in great position to start this. They're going to really have to rely on the bush and the redemption control of the Ivern.
A tidal wave gives him brief vision as Zeyzal snags up Inspired. He's forced to pop the Zhonya's early, but Zeyzal is chunked to below 50% HP. The rockets, the culling, everything is poking Shopify out of the Dragon Pit, and Bwipo now has control.
And that's the difficulty. Inspired did burn the stopwatch, but took no damage, and he might even be going in for the kill here on the Nautilus.
Two-man sleep. Zeyzal's in trouble. Can flash over the wall if he needs to. He finally does it at the last second, but he still falls to the passive. But they found Massu, and Curtain Call opens up, looking for the bullets. Quad is the only one caught alongside Bwipo, but they're doing everything they can to hold the line. The bullets didn't find that much damage onto FlyQuest's front line, and FakeGod is doing everything he can to endure and hold that front. But Shopify find no members other than Massu, but it looks like FlyQuest are still going to be strong enough to fight for this dragon.
It's going to be an interesting fight because FakeGod can teleport back in and then be a little bit stronger as a team since Zeyzal is stronger, because of who's alive. They're going for Drake.
FakeGod just picked up a Steric Skage. We'll see how much value he can get out of it. The engage onto the front line. Insanity is popped. FlyQuest find their man, and BVOY is forced to run. Boogie and him are trying to kite this one out. Zeyzal is back from the fountain as they will snag up a straggler. And FakeGod is showing up huge as he gets a double. He gets a triple. FakeGod is saving this game for Shopify.
7-1.
The crowd's chanting FakeGod.
FakeGod chants in the LCS studio as he's trying to keep Shopify's season alive. The Drake still stands, so we don't know if this is completely over yet. So this is the very beginning of this fight when Zeyzal tries the engage onto Lillia, and they end up getting substantial poke onto Shopify. I'd say from this point, if FlyQuest just pulls back, they can probably just take this Drake. But they decide to continue moving forward. They get a little bit overambitious, and I think we're going to have to go back to live as Shopify is still trying to get that soul point Drake. They've started it up.
You called it, Jatt. Shopify on the Drake. Teleport is coming in for FlyQuest to see if they can challenge. Inspired does not have flash, and it doesn't look like there's a blast cone for him to get in over the pit. That is the third dragon of the game, secured by Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, man. It's happening. There were also thoughts about Shopify in terms of the stress related to this team, that they're actually a lot better than their record would indicate.
Yeah.
Because they had such a slow start to the split. And here's just a collection of quotes from Emily, Core, JJ, Massu, Huhi, all just saying that, and this was before a bunch of teams had 2 wins, by the way.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just them and Immortals, so yeah, they're going to be stronger. This was when we had a lot of 1-win teams. So you can see, at least behind the scenes, people are respecting this team. And the weird thing about this game is even though they will win, I think, if they get Drake Soul, it's going to be still hard for them to get Drake Soul, because even after winning that fight, even after having a 7-kill Gnar, they're still down in tempo. They lost their tier 2 top turret. They're 2 turrets down. It's hard for them to actually take advantage of Gnar's strength.
Yeah. And for FlyQuest, one saving grace is that Inspired did not drop his bounty in that fight. He did everything that he could to get the initiation, the follow-up, and the damage onto Shopify, and he bailed at the last possible moment. So still 4-0-1. The Zhonyas will be available once again in the next fight. But he is a majority of the gold advantage for FlyQuest at the moment. For Shopify, if they're able to find Inspired, who is now down to Flash for the next couple of minutes, that could be what sends Shopify over that marker.
And this is the weird quirk about League of Legends. FakeGod's 13 gold ahead of Bwipo. He's 7-1, and Renekton is 0-3. So the reason this is true is because Bwipo has gotten a lot of solo turret gold.
Yeah.
So FakeGod is actually not as... He's a little bit of FakeGod right now with 7-1 when he's actually not that rich. It's a weird quirk of the game. He's having a great game. He's made huge contributions in these fights, but just the way that FlyQuest has played the map has actually made the 0-3 Renekton as strong as the 7-1 Gnar.
It's the early mid-game sacrifices that FakeGod made to join the team and pick up some of those early kills and those winning team fights, whereas FlyQuest continued to play the map, as you said, and Bwipo just a benefactor off of the side lane assignments. As Shopify now are fighting for control of mid lane. Zeyzal, first snag onto Bwipo. Not an engage that Shopify are really thrilled with, as now Zeyzal getting pelted with poke from the side of FlyQuest. The calling opens up. Zeyzal might go down. He flashes to the safety of Boogie, but he's going to be forced to recall.
And this is how FlyQuest can win. They just have to keep playing slow and patient. If they get over-aggressive like they did in that Drake fight, that's where things can get bad, because the poke of Corki, Lucian, and Lillia is just overwhelming. It will force Zeyzal to hard engage, but he's just this Warmog's Nautilus. He would die fairly quickly, or FakeGod has to find some ridiculous flank while he has Mega Gnar. So you can see they're just slowly playing out these waves. And I think they're hoping, actually, that they just get a kill from this poke. If not, they're going to keep this pressure until the next Drake is up.
Yeah, FlyQuest also threw out the ultimate from Busio, trying to fish for Insanity. They did not find anything, not even a summoner burn from the mid laner of Shopify Rebellion. He will take a base. Might have a good item purchase for this upcoming dragon spawning in a minute and 30. It is soul point for Shopify, and because FlyQuest were not able to find a window to capitalize off of a pick for Shopify and burn this Baron, it seems like we're just going to be jockeying around mid lane for river control.
And get ready to flip that Baron. We have 10 flashes up. So everyone's, sorry, 9 flashes and 1 hex flash up at the moment. So I think we're going to see a pretty big brawl. However, FlyQuest is trying to get ahead of the play. They're the ones that are frequently able to send someone to a side lane to pick up farm and then make Shopify respond, which then has this cyclical effect where they're always the first ones back to push mid when they really need to as well. So I think we're going to be in exactly the same situation we were in that last Drake, where we're likely going to have this bot lane pushed up by the Renekton. We have Lucian Nami on mid early, and it means the only entrance from Shopify is going to be some weird meandering spot through here, and they're just going to have to somehow not get poked too hard while they do this Drake. It's going to be really tough for them to make anything happen and actually get this soul.
It all comes down to sheer willpower and grit from Shopify Rebellion as they start to descend into the darkness of this river on the bottom side.
Real quick, I feel like Inspired is greeting right now. He either wants level 16 or an extra item, because he full cleared his whole jungle before arriving to this wave, but it's probably okay, as they have 5 on mid wave now, and they're going to try and move in towards the river.
FakeGod is trying to build up that Fury and Rage as fast as possible. He's got it nearly at 99. We'll see if it gets popped too early. He's about to go Mega. So now Shopify have to force the fight so that FakeGod can get use out of it. Deadly Flourish does connect on the root, but FlyQuest are keeping their distance and they're using the advantage of the poke.
Yeah, Shopify just has to hit. If they stay too long, they get poked out.
Yep, Shopify, full send on the engage. The tidal wave rips through one. Massu takes out the first one in Zeyzal. Boogie still in the pit trying to work down this dragon, but he's just an Ivern. He's not going to be able to burn it down anytime soon. Boogie's in trouble. Doesn't have flash anymore. He gets blisted by Massu, and now the rest of Shopify are on the run. FlyQuest don't even care about the dragon. They're looking for the kills that could potentially end this game off of one push. Inspire flashes in. Lilting Lullaby onto the final member of Shopify. BVOY goes to sleep, and it's FlyQuest that pull off the full ace.
And Raafaa, it's over. They have a wave. They have 5 dead. It was a 5-0. FlyQuest just take the first game.
It doesn't matter if you sack every single dragon in the game. FlyQuest only need one window to find the game-winning push.
Let's see if Zeyzal can desperately try and clear this minion wave. Get another E off. He can't. It's over.
Not a chance. Zeyzal tried, but he will not be able to persevere with Shopify as FlyQuest will find the first game win of the series.
That escalated quickly. I'm pretty sure that was a 30-minute game win by FlyQuest. They're only up 1 kill by the end of it, 8,000 gold. They don't take a single Drake, as you mentioned, but we did notice some worrying signs in the game. When there's a 7-1 Gnar and a 0-3 Renekton, but the Renekton is the richest guy in the game, that means FlyQuest is playing the map at a whole different level than Shopify.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that Shopify will have to review going into the second game if they want to keep their playoffs dreams alive. But for everyone else at home, during the Summer Split, you could win a trip to Worlds 2024 or a set of 7 Player of the Week statues. So use your MasterCard to make a purchase from the Incline store and save your card on file. Be entered for a chance to win. With that, we're headed to a break. When we come back, we'll check out the 1v1 with FlyQuest bot lane.
Hello, it's Busio from FlyQuest, and I'm here to 1v1 my ADC. Today we have chosen Azir versus Azir. It's exciting.
I play off-roll in solo queue, mostly.
Wait, if you play off-roll and solo queue, who's the better mid laner between the two of you?
I don't know.
I have support mechanics, so probably Massu.
Busio has really good mechanics, so.
I'm copying your runes by that. I'm literally looking at the big screen. What are you cooking up right now?
I don't know.
Just go Hob or Fleet. Those are the 2 options.
I'm looking.
Flash on F, of course. F for flash. There's another option. We're on 60 hertz.
Yeah.
Already hearing the excuses, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course, I'm standing up on 60 hertz.
The ping?
What's the ping?
Control F?
Control F? 200.
Oh, nice.
We're in
That's pretty
Amsterdam!
Let's go!
Hey, let's just play on 200, it's okay. Bro, do you see what my character
You
is
don't have
doing?
to artificially do it. Wait, you're absolutely gliding. Wow.
Wait, don't fight yet.
Yeah, adjusting settings, bro. I can't even.
Holy, this is hard.
I don't have Shift W, so I can't oh no. I don't have indicators.
Oh god. Wait, hold on.
That's gonna take a while. I don't know how to do that.
Don't hit me yet, 1 sec.
I'm not that smart. Which one is it? Is it normal cast? I think it's called normal cast. Hey, Massu, don't
Minions
hit me.
are coming, bro. Here.
Hit him!
All right, I have it bound. It's over for you. Oh, my screen froze. Hello?
Hit him!
Yo!
Punish him!
I can't hit you.
Oh. Yo, I can't even
you're getting
click.
spaced, bro, come on.
I am getting spaced. Oh. Massu's level 2.
High ping champion? I'm actually not sure. Boom. Sit down. Through the minion.
I can't even process what's going on.
Which champion?
I actually somehow queued you.
Zeyzal?
Hey, chill.
Maybe it's not too bad.
Me and Massu both have 7 CS.
Hey, how are you losing these trades, Busio?
I'm on 200 ping, Raz. You want to come play?
He's on 200 ping too.
Yeah, but I'm a support. I'm already sent home. My best bet is Massu dives me. So that's a certified Massu play. So
I will be diving you.
Where's my jungler?
Whoa, what are you doing, bro? Come on. Oh. Okay.
I'm dead.
Okay.
Oh.
GG. That was great. I loved my experience.
I love my ping, yeah.
Massu probably was actively playing Azir last
2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years ago. Oh, then maybe it's winnable for me.
GG. Good job.
GG. Good game.
Good game.
Thank you guys so much for watching. That was a thrilling 1v1, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Look what I've just made. The perfect pearl.
Not too bad, but check this out.
Whoa, a true Venus clam.
Red Bull gives you wings.